Okay, so year one. This is the new film from Lauren Loesberg. Lauren wrote and directed. The film is produced by Imani Davis, Dasha Gorin, and Julia Rolova. It is executive produced by Alan Jacobson, Stephen Clark, and Lauren Loesberg. Associate produced by Parker Lowe and co-produced by Jamie Crepin. Hunter Chang took care of the music. Jana McLean is on cinematography. Editing duties are handled by Trisha Scully and Lauren Loesberg. Noah Isabella, she took care of the casting. Sarah Lewis is production design. Costume design is Markesia Jordan. Hair and makeup, we got Jessica Stymage and Cameron Burnett. Our cast. All right. Man, this was a great cast. All right, we got Ruby, played by Elizabeth Yu. Then there is Selene, played by Emma Raimi. Margaret, played by Maya Schneck. Becca, played by Taylor Kincaid. Sam is played by Billy Chingri. Ryder Dean McDaniel is Garth. Brianna is played by Tatsumi Romano. Callie Skatchke plays Amy. Ezra is played by Jordan Moore. Nolan is played by Julian Sanchez. Lauren Loesberg is Val. Right? Dr. Suma is played by Melanie J. Hubbard. Heather Jenks is Ruby's mum. Janice is played by Heidi Drennan. The nurse is played by Harmony Zhang. Will, played by Sargon Odichi. Aaron, played by Cannon Cook. Sherry, played by Judy Kaufman. Right, that's probably our main group of people. Okay, so the gist, right? Ruby's freshman year of college doesn't go as planned. Despite her best efforts, she struggles to make friends other than her complicated roommate, Selene, and experiences both academic and social rejection. But Selene bears problems of her own when her severe anxiety and inability to care for herself seep into Ruby's everyday life. Soon Ruby finds herself in a downward spiral marked by dreams and the appearance of her glamorous alter ego, Ruby 2, who begins to live the life that Ruby thinks she is expected to have. Man, right? Now, the great AJ Furman came through with this one. So I knew, I knew it was going to be good. And I thoroughly enjoyed this film. Like, it's an interesting one, right? Because of everything it's dealing with. Man, it brings you back to situations you may have had, right? Like, the empathy is there. Now, Lauren has a director's statement. And it says, year one is loosely based on events that took place in my life during my freshman year of college. I spent all of high school with my nose buried in a textbook so that I could get into the school of my dreams and then have the best 4 years of my life. In reality, college tested my emotional limits in ways I had never imagined. And while many good things did happen during that time, those 4 years were the most difficult and tumultuous of my life. It wasn't until after that time in my life that I came to realize that many of the other people around me, especially women, had similar experiences. 1 out of 4 college-age adults struggle with depression, diagnosed or not. I had felt like I was failing because I wasted the best years of my life, grappling with my mental illness, not knowing how many people were feeling the same. It also led me to realize how my idea of the American college experience was shaped by myths. There are many films and shows that place in high school and the early 20s, but few that are set in college. The ones that are rarely challenge these myths perpetuated by society, instead enforcing the idea that there is only one right way to experience college. Year one is a transformative coming of age story deeply informed by its realistic college setting. My goal for this film is to share an experience that will resonate with many young adults today and hopefully show them that they are not alone. Now, it's really interesting, right? Because I don't read any of this information before I view films and stuff. You know what I mean? Because I like to come in fresh. I don't want to be swayed in any kind of way. But reading that, I feel that's exactly what I thought when watching this. Right? The realism jumps off the page at you. You know, just all of our interactions. You know, they just feel real. It feels like conversations people actually have. And the way you have a conversation, you know, it's never perfect, right? It's not always, I'm going to say my piece and now you have your moment to rebuttal. You know what I mean? Like people interrupt, people start a sentence and then falter. Right? People kind of get confused. It's all there. It's all there. And that's great. Right? We have those kind of weird, fluid, gray areas. Because although, you know, you could side with a certain character here, you can look at this through everyone's eyes and kind of see it from their point of view. You know what I mean? Like, everyone is struggling. So, you know what I mean? Like, to be like, that person is fully wrong, it's a difficult one. Right? And that's the beauty of it. That there's not always, you know, a good guy and a bad guy. Right? Sometimes it's just you come to things from this, you know, direction. I come from that direction. They're both right. They're just different. Right? And we just need to find that common ground. But how do you find that common ground? You know, when you have no experience of that. So it's really interesting. You know, like we have this thing where Ruby, you know, she's kind of on that downward spiral. She's having these nightmares, these dreams of raging water. It's dark. You know, you can kind of see the water, but it's more the sound, right? It's more the sound that gets you. And it's interesting because, water, on the surface, it can look lovely, but there's these currents. There's these currents that will hold you, grip you, drag you, and you can't, move against the direction it's taking you. And that does feel like life sometimes. And that definitely feels like depression, right? So we have that. But then later on in the film, the water kind of changes, which is very interesting. And again, it really, leads that metaphor of depression, coming out of the darkness, all of that. So I think that's really handled well. And then, as I said, this Ruby character, when we see, Ruby 1, let's say, and, everything's on top of her, she does look diminished, but Ruby 1 is vibrant, right? She's kind of got this glow about her. But there's this fantastic scene towards the end where, Ruby 1 kind of gets that glow. You know what I mean? It's just shot in this fantastic way that really speaks volumes, And I think the big thing, adding to the realism of this story, it's not, once we get to the end, everything is fixed. No, because that's not life, right? It's not like, hey, I want to be better. Now I'm better. Hooray. No. It's, you start that, transition. You start that journey, right? And who knows how long it's going to take, right? Sometimes it could be a quick, sometimes it's a long one. There's ups and downs, all of that. But we see that. We see that change. It's really palpable when her friend comes to visit. Right? We see the relief, all of that. But it's, school's messy. Those early relationships can be messy. I mean, later relationships can be messy, right? But we see all of that, the different friend groups and everything, people making declarations, we're going to be best friends, right? Before you even really know someone, because there's those people that you like, but you can't really be around them for too long, right? Just because you're so different that you kind of, you're just butt heads in a way, right? There's people that just like their own personal space, right? Need their own personal space. Other people that hate silence, so they always need noise, always need to say something. And sometimes, these different people, you don't always, work great together over long periods of time. And we see those different friends groups. We see all of that. It's young people, so we get text messaging and all of that. But I was so relieved because, they're not tiny little squares on the screen, actually of a reasonable size, I mean, could be a little bit bigger, but that's just because of me, right? You know what I mean? But no, size-wise, they work. I feel most people, you're not going to be squinting trying to read them. So that was very refreshing. But every aspect of this film, it works. It works very well, right? The cast is fantastic. Oh my God, the cast is fantastic. And this, we've got our supporting characters like Margaret, played by Maya Schnack, who is really good and pivotal. The same with Taylor Kincaid, who is Becca. Like their characters, right? The duality of those characters, it's very different, but very telling on, Ruby and Selene. And they really, they're not in it a crazy amount, but what they do is really help underpin these situations. And they do a fantastic job of that. Then you've got Elizabeth Yu and Emma Raimi as Ruby and Selene. And those ladies just do a phenomenal job. They do a phenomenal job of displaying this emotional roller coaster, right? And especially when you think about Selene, who has said she's not the bad guy necessarily. So it's about trying to play this character in a way that you get the struggle she's going through as well, because Ruby is our main character. So we're following Ruby, but it's not to say that other people aren't going through similar struggles, right? But just from different perspectives. So the cast do a phenomenal job, which, you also then have to give hats off to Noia Isabella for that casting, but she did a phenomenal job. Just the way it's edited works, because you're always in the moments, right? Like there's sometimes you'll watch something and there's these weird hard edits and you're just like, that feels weird. But no, this doesn't feel weird at all. Doesn't feel weird at all. The music, Hunter Chang does a fantastic job with the score. Jana McClain with the shot selection, right? As I mentioned, we got that beautiful shot at the end, but just all the way through, like the dorm rooms, the way the dorm room is, like the beds interconnect, right? So you're seeing both characters a lot on screen, which is always very telling, because you've got those different reactions and we can see those, with the alarm and all of this kind of thing. So it just works so well. Like the framing of our scenes, all of this, man, you can understand, right? You can understand why Year One is getting so much praise. You know what I mean? Like, it's just had a big screening at Dances with Films, the New York edition. And it's it's been getting a lot of acclaim, as well as Lauren. And this is her first film, right? Her first feature film. And you see so much there. So much there, right? Obviously, it's not, it's not completely perfect, but it's goddamn close. And it really reflects that raw, intricate, emotional, roller coaster that you can be on at that part of your life. They really do a fantastic job of capturing it. So, people, if you get an opportunity, I highly, highly recommend you checking out year one. Right, we'll have all the links on the website and any other screening festival info that I can find, I'll put there for you. So yes, people, check out year one. Lauren and crew have done a tremendous job.